Brian Windhorst was talking to a scout, and this is what he had to say about Marcus Sasser.
Yeah.
I just want to say something. I was talking to a scout who was watching the Pistons within the last few days, and he told me that Cade Cunningham is the best guard on the Pistons roster. That's not breaking news. And that Marcus Sasser, who's their first round pick out of Houston, they picked him with the 25th pick.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's their second best guard.
That's interesting.
It doesn't surprise me, though, because if you compare Marcus Sasser to Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey, he's a combination of both players, right? He fights defensively, and on offense, he can create his own shot. He can create for others. He can finish at the rim, and he can hit a three-point shot. He is – and I have no problem agreeing with Brian Windhorst. He is the second-best guard because he gives you something that Jaden Ivey and Killian Hayes don't. He gives you a two-way player. And I know Killian Hayes is hitting a few shots right now the last 5 games. We just pointed it out a couple of minutes ago. But consistently, Marcus Sasser has been the second-best guard because he can play both ways on the floor. That's something that Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey don't give you. So I agree with Brian Windhorst.
Yeah, I found it kind of interesting. Like, it's not so much Brian Windhorst saying that. It's a scout that said, like, hey, like, I think Marcus Sasser is the real deal. I think he's the second best guard in Detroit, not named Jaden Ivey or Killian Hayes. And he's got a game where, you know, if he keeps up what he's doing, yeah, he could be the second best guard. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, no, it's Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey's the second best guard in Detroit. I think I'll let you guys debate that in the comments or on social media, who's better, Jaden Ivey or Marcus Sasser. I'm not going to get into those debates, but I find it real interesting that a national media podcast like ESPN is talking about Marcus Sasser because ESPN doesn't really talk about Detroit. They really don't. If they do, it's usually negatively. I'm just happy we got some press.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, I get why people say Jaden Ivey. He's phenomenal. He's electrifying. He's probably the best athlete on the Detroit Pistons. Probably one of the best athletes the Pistons have ever drafted. We'll just say that. He's incredible. But until he shows up and becomes a two-way player, he is just like Killian. He's limited in a way. And that's why I'm going to say that Marcus Sasser is the second best guard because he plays defense. He plays offense. He can create for himself. He can create for others. That's what makes him the second best guard. Doesn't mean he's the second most talented guard on the team. Like, there's different categories for everything. Like, Jaden Ivey, after Cade Cunningham, probably when it comes to the backcourt players, he has the second highest ceiling behind Cade Cunningham. But right now, Marcus Sasser is the second best guard of those 4. I'm not even talking about Monte Morris or Alec Burks, but we're talking about the young guys that are under 25. Marcus Sasser is the second best. And a lot of it has to do because he has more experience than the others. He's 23 years old as a rookie in the NBA. And he has a game that just suits Cade Cunningham right now. He plays within the offense. Like, he makes the right decisions with the ball. Like, he has bought in to what Monty Williams wants out of his guards. That is what he's done, and he's been rewarded with the minutes. So I don't think it's a stretch to say he's the second best guard right now in Detroit.
Yeah, like I said, it's coming from an NBA scout that does it for a living. I'm not going to disagree with an NBA scout because I'm not one. I do a Pistons podcast once a week with you. If a scout says he thinks he's the second best player, who am I to say? I'm just a fan at the end of the day. I think Ivy has a higher ceiling. I think we can both agree there. I think as a ceiling, he has a higher ceiling than Sasser. The one thing I will say is Sasser, to me, defensively, is a better defender than Jaden Ivey. Offensively, he's better than Killian Hayes. I think Ivey and him are fairly close offensively because I think they both can attack the rim. They both can shoot that three-point shot. But to say he's the second best, and I know some fans in the comment section right now, they're like, oh, why are you crowning him already? He's not the second best. Stop it. Like I said, it's up to you guys to debate whether or not, like Lance thinks he is. I don't know. I want to see more games out of him. maybe within, 40 to 50 games, I can kind of give you my opinion on that. But in the first 10 games, I like what I see from Sasser so far.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the year, we can talk about this again. It's not a big deal. But if we're talking about right now, the first 10 games of the season, Marcus Sasser has been the second best guard on the Detroit Pistons. Like, if some fans want to say Killian Hayes, that's fine. That's great. I'm not going to argue with you. I just happen to think Marcus Sasser has been the second best guard for the Detroit Pistons because he's so far consistently given you both sides of the ball. When he's gotten minutes, even when he's only playing like 9 minutes in a game, he still goes hard on both sides. And Jaden Ivey, he's only gives it to you one side. And Killian Hayes, he pretty much only gives it to you on one side except for the last 5 games. But I'm still sticking with Marcus Sasser as the second best guard on the Detroit Pistons right now.